Good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. Today's command of Jesus, we're going to talk about learn to fish for people. You can find a different command of Jesus at our weekday Bible plan. It's 5 days a week, very simple to follow at bible.today.church. If these segments are meaningful to you, it really helps if you like it, if you share it, if you comment, let us know you're here. Just helps us get the word out, make much of Jesus, which is the whole point of doing this. Today's Jesus Said, which is a soundbite version of a command or teaching or an example of Jesus. Jesus said, learn to fish for people. I'm going to read today from Matthew 4:19 through 20. And this is Jesus calling some of his first disciples. He said to them, follow me, and I will turn you into fishers of people, fishers of men, some translations say. They left their nets immediately and followed him. Learn to fish for people. Understanding how Jesus lived, in the example that he set, we know that he was actually saying, learn to make disciple makers. Follow me, and I will turn you into disciple makers. Well, how do we do that? Well, it begins with follow me. We can't teach and we can't model or example what we don't actually obey. And it's impossible to follow Jesus and not do the things that he commanded. It's a spiritual principle that just applies. You reap what you sow. And we are all planting seeds, whether we realize it or not. You may think that you're not fishing for people. Well, in one way or another, you are. You're either fishing for people or you're obstructing the fishing of people. Let me explain that. Imagine you're at the lake and find this great spot to fish, and you know the history there, and you know that the fish are biting. You have the right bait, the right fishing equipment, and then some kid walks up and starts throwing rocks in the water, making it almost impossible to catch any fish. The kid probably doesn't even realize what he's doing. He wouldn't call it fishing. He's just chunking rocks, right? But even though he doesn't know it, he is impacting the fish. He's basically an anti-fisherman. When we don't follow Jesus, it has the same kind of impact on fishing for people. Throwing stones of judgment, arrogance, selfishness troubles the water, making fishing almost impossible. I think that's why Jesus said, people will know that we are his disciples by our love one for another. When we don't follow Jesus, we become anti-fishermen. How do we know that we follow him? Well, 1 John 2:3 says, now by this we know that we have come to know God if we keep his commandments. The one who says, I have come to know God and yet does not keep his commandments is a liar. And the truth is not in such a person. But whoever obeys his word, truly in this person the love of God has been perfected. By this we know we are in him. The one who says he resides in God ought himself to walk just as Jesus walked. Jesus said, follow me. Learn to fish for people. We are planting seeds and making an impact whether we realize it or not. People are watching. People are following. Are we leading them by following Jesus? Or are we throwing rocks in the water, making fishing impossible? We are all who proclaim to follow Jesus, we are all disciple makers. We are either fishing for people or scaring them off. Jesus warned the Pharisees in Matthew 23:15. He said, woe to you, experts in the law, and you Pharisees, you hypocrites. You cross land and sea to make one convert. And when you get one, you make him twice as much the child of hell as yourselves. We reap what we sow. We replicate who we are. Jesus said, learn to fish for people. The only way to do that is to follow Jesus. and we know that we're following him. We know that we're residing in God. We know that we're on the right track. We know that we are doing what Jesus said when we actually do what he said. The one who says he resides in God ought himself to walk just as Jesus walked. And how did Jesus walk? He made disciples. And he said, follow me, and I will show you. I will teach you. Learn to fish for people. That's what Jesus said. Are we doing that? Or are we throwing rocks in the water? How can we put learning to fish for people into action today?